Roman Abramovich spent billions of pounds on Chelsea. He turned them into champions. He won every major trophy possible. But here's the strange part. People who knew him say football may not have been the real reason he bought the club. And that's where things start to get interesting. There was one thing Chelsea could give Abramovich that money alone couldn't buy. And once you understand what that was, you'll see the entire Chelsea takeover differently. Because this wasn't just a football story. It was a move that changed the sport forever. Today, Chelsea are one of football's biggest clubs. But in 2003, the reality was very different. To understand why Abramovich chose Chelsea, we first need to go back. The club had qualified for the Champions League, but behind the scenes, finances were becoming a serious concern. Chelsea were ambitious. They were popular, but they weren't giants. Manchester United dominated headlines. Arsenal were building an invincible team. Liverpool remained one of football's biggest names. Chelsea simply weren't the obvious choice. And that's what makes what happened next so surprising. Because out of all the clubs in Europe, Abramovich chose Chelsea. Not Manchester United. Not Real Madrid. Not AC Milan. Chelsea. But why? And this is where the mystery begins. The answer starts with a decision that changed football history forever. At just 36 years old, Roman Abramovich was already one of the richest men in the world. Then suddenly, he bought Chelsea. The football world was stunned. Fans celebrated. Rivals panicked. And within weeks, millions of pounds started pouring into the club. New players arrived. New ambitions appeared. Everything changed almost overnight. But that was only the beginning. Most billionaires buy sports teams hoping to make money. Abramovich seemed willing to spend money without worrying about profit. So if profit wasn't the main goal, what was? According to people who worked closely with him, the answer might surprise you. But there's something else you need to know. The official explanation was simple. Abramovich saw potential. Chelsea were based in London. They had Champions League football. They had room to grow. That explanation made sense. But many people weren't convinced. Because what followed looked less like an investment and more like an obsession. Chelsea broke transfer records. Top stars arrived. The spending never seemed to stop. It was as if Abramovich wasn't simply buying a football club. It was as if he was trying to build something much bigger. And this is where things take a turn. People close to Abramovich later suggested that he loved challenges, not maintaining success, creating it. Chelsea were the perfect project. A club close enough to the top to compete, but not close enough to guarantee success. If Chelsea won, it would be because he transformed them. But there may have been another benefit, one that rarely gets discussed. Prestige, influence, global recognition. Owning a Premier League club instantly placed Abramovich at the center of a worldwide audience. Every match, every headline, every trophy, his name became known across the globe. Chelsea wasn't just a football club. It became one of the most powerful brands in world sport. And Abramovich was the man behind it. And here's where the impact becomes even bigger. Nobody could have predicted just how successful this project would become. Then came the trophies. Premier League titles, FA Cups, League Cups, European glory. Chelsea became one of the most successful clubs on the planet. But something even bigger happened. Other billionaires were watching. Owners across world football saw what Abramovich had done, and they wanted to copy it. Suddenly, football wasn't just about clubs anymore. It was about owners, investors, states, and vast amounts of money. And this changed everything. In many ways, modern football began with Chelsea in 2003. Which brings us to the final question. Was it worth it? So why did Roman Abramovich buy Chelsea? The truth is that there may never be one single answer. Part football, part business, part challenge, part global influence. But one thing is certain. Without that decision in 2003, football today would look completely different. Chelsea changed. Abramovich changed. And the sport changed with them. More than 20 years later, we're still living in the football world that takeover helped create. And that leaves us with one final question. Did Abramovich buy Chelsea because he genuinely loved football? Or was there always a bigger plan behind the scenes? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more football documentaries and untold stories from the beautiful game.